You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks, it's Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, there are listening to That Makes Official. Welcome to over 16 years of 2,400 episodes of the Chris Voss Show. And it just keeps rolling and rolling, and I suppose we have to do another 2,400 episodes in 16 years. My back is tired. Somebody rub it. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today's featured author comes to us from bookstolifemarketing.co.uk. With expert publishing to strategic marketing, they help authors reach their audience and maximize their book success. Anyway, we have an amazing young lady on the show today. We'll be talking about her exciting book that came out November 5th, 2024, called The Jane Sparks Trilogy. We have Xiomara Rodriguez on the show with us today. Welcome to the show, Miss Rodriguez. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me, and I'm really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate having you as well, because we can learn so much from you and what you have here. You are a 74-year-old young woman who had a dream. You were born in San Juan, Puerto Rico, lived there until the age of 27. You came to mainland USA. You retired from the U.S. Coast Guard after serving 20 years, 10 of which she served as a special agent with the Coast Guard Investigative Service. She's the first Hispanic female to become a special agent with the CGIS. After retirement, she did many things. One of her proudest achievements was that on April 2014, she co-founded Tu Casa Latina, a nonprofit organization geared toward helping immigrant women, men, and children who are victims of domestic violence crimes, and human trafficking in Northern Nevada with immigration help and referrals so they can stay in the USA for a better life. Since the age of 9, she dreamed to be a writer. She published some short stories and poems in various college magazines and in some online magazines, along with some of her poetry that was published in Nustro magazine. She's a wife, been married for 43 years, and a mother of 2 outstanding children, a grandmother of 2, and a great-grandmother of 6. Welcome to the show, Miss Rodriguez, again. It's glad to have you.
I am glad to be here.
So give us .coms. Where do you want people to look you up on the interwebs and find out more about you?
You could go on Bookside Press, you could go on Amazon, and you could go on my webpage, writer.xiomararodriguez.com, and it has the books and it has the trilogy.
Ah, that sounds like good stuff. So give us a 30,000 overview of what's inside your new book.
The Jane Sparks Trilogy is a compendium of all 3 books that I wrote before. How Could It Be? The Story Continues, and A New Beginning Maybe. This story is about 2 sisters. One is a lieutenant at the San Francisco PD. The other is a FBI agent. They're twin sisters, but they did not know they were twin sisters. They didn't even know the other one existed. So they find out when the FBI agent gets shot at the San Francisco PD parking lot. So now they have to find out how come they were separated and why was the FBI agent shot? Was she shot because they thought she was the lieutenant, or was she shot because she was an FBI agent? Also, another crime that they have to solve that deals with horses. So they go and they find out what's going on. I'm not going to tell you what happens next because I want you to read the book.
You have to read the book. That's the one thing about novels is we can't fully talk about them.
They go on a second story, and the third one is I like the most because the third story has to do with antiquities.
Antiquities, so like Egypt sort of stuff? Or?
Yeah, Egypt and Israel, and stealing antiquities and finding them, and art theft and murder.
Mhm. So
So
you call this book a trilogy. It's three books in one, technically, or three kind of separate sort of stories that go between, but it's all encompassed in one book.
that's right. It makes it easy for people to carry. The stories, the books were created for people that want to read, but they do not have a lot of time to read.
Mm.
You know, they want to read something and they want to be excited about something, but they really don't have the time. So that's one of the reasons I wrote them, for that kind of people, for people that have, like my age, that have time, that they have a little bit of hard time concentrating a lot on things, or for young kids that are beginning to learn chapter books and they want to learn something new. So I'm giving everybody a little bit of something they could use and enjoy. It's enjoyable. They're enjoyable, and they give you a little bit of relaxation.
Oh, now is this the first book you've written?
I have written a lot of short stories,
Mm-hmm.
and I have written a lot of poetry. I started writing poetry, and then I shift to short stories and scripts for theater.
Then you started writing when you were 9. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a way of escaping what was happening around me.
Mm-hmm.
And it just took me to a different world. I love reading mysteries. I read all of Nancy Drew mystery stories.
Ah.
That's how I started with the mysteries. Then I started reading some FBI books, and I went on along. I went to the University of Puerto Rico, history and theater, and then to George Mason University with the sociology.
Oh, wow. And I imagine has some of your life experiences, you were in I believe the Coast Guard, how has that shaped your writing experiences? You delve out characters and plot lines, or has it, I guess?
Yes, it has. I joined the Coast Guard in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, women were few and far between.
Yeah.
And when I became an agent, there were only 7 of us as agents in the Coast Guard.
Wow.
Yes. And it was hard. It was a hard time because, at least for me, there are many days that I had to get up and look at myself in the mirror and say, I could do this. Come on, I could do this. You could do it. Go for it. You could do it. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy the work. It was different. Every day there was something different. If you ever saw NCIS, the show, that's the work I used to do for the Coast Guard.
Oh, wow. Okay. We had Vice Admiral Sandra Stowe on the show. I think she was the head of the Coast Guard at one time.
Coast Guard. Yeah.
So you know her, or you've heard her?
No, I heard. I didn't ever get to know her.
We had her on the show back in 2021. We should check in to see what she's doing. She wrote a great book on leadership and stuff. But I imagine, these working in the ocean and with water and crises and conflicts and all sorts of stuff. That's a salty job, eh? Get it? Ocean salt. That's the best you can do on that job. Sorry, folks.
That's okay.
Make you a little salty being on that there sea. But no, I mean it's hard work. I'm sure it's got to be. I've seen the Coast Guard do their thing, and then I've seen those. What's that dangerous job with the crabbing and stuff they do with the fishing? And
we do everything. Coast Guard does a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And it's hard work, and there's salt water too. It sprays on you and you dry out, and then there's the sun. That's always probably fun too with salt water. But yeah, it's hard work. And so talk to us about some of the characters that are in the book and why you chose them and featured them. I guess, would Jane Sparks be the first person we want to talk about as the main person in the book?
Yeah, Jane Spark is a lieutenant in the San Francisco PD. She came up the ranks. She was a San Francisco mounted police officer, and she went up the ranks. Her father, or who she believes is her father, was also in the San Francisco PD. And she's divorced, hardworking, very following the rules. She follows the rules. On the other hand, Fran, which is the FBI agent, was first an NYPD police officer, And from there, she went to the FBI. She's married, and her wife is a medical examiner and a writer. I basically, a little bit of it stole the character from books that I read from Patricia Cromwell.
Okay.
Because I like the character in a way, the character of the wife in a way as Patricia Cromwell, who was also a medical examiner, forensic science. And I combined them. And the books are reading really fast. There is also the character which I enjoyed the most is the mother. Who discovers that she has had 2 kids.
Wait.
2 daughters, and did not know that she had 2 daughters.
How would a mother not know she had 2 daughters? Because it's
that's something you have to read the book.
Now you really got to read the book. You got to figure this one out.
Now you have to read the book.
Immaculate conception.
No, she gave birth to both kids.
Wow.
She gave birth to both daughters, but only raised one, knowing only one.
Oh, okay. All right then. So everyone's in for a surprise when they find out that there's a spare.
Yes.
I'm always trying to convince my mom I'm adopted, and she insists otherwise, but there's pictures to prove it, so I guess whatever. But I always claim I was switched in the hospital. You know, they do the switcheroo at the beds there. That was going on in the 70s, so I'm sure.
Yeah, that was going on in the 70s.
So now, do you have 2 twin protagonists in the book then, the 2 sisters? And why did you choose that? Why did you feel that was kind of a great thing to put there?
You know, they came to me. I did not create. They created themselves in my mind. It was about 3:00 in the morning. I was fast asleep, and all of a sudden, this idea came to my mind, and I started, getting ideas of the characters and how to put them together, and went for it. I have an amazing husband who understood, and I started writing and writing and writing, and until I finished the first book, it was like, okay, just let her be. Just give her coffee and let her be.
Give her coffee, let her be.
Yeah.
That's the secret to a long marriage, evidently, I guess. Is that true?
I think so. Give her coffee and just let her be.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to work. So how long have you been married? 43 years?
43 years.
Yeah. So clearly it's working.
It is working. He's an amazing human. He is
awesome.
Just an amazing, thoughtful. He's such a great father and grandfather and great-grandfather.
Wow.
Right now, he is playing with our great-grandson in the back.
That's awesome sauce. Give her I'm going to try that next time I get in a relationship. Just give her coffee and leave her alone.
If she likes coffee, she might like tea.
Yeah. So if she likes tea, that's cool too. I can make that.
Yeah.
I got a great espresso machine. We can make her some great espresso. And then let's see, what was the other question that I had for you on the things? You what age did they discover that they're twins? Can you tell us that? Is that important to the story?
No, that when the FBI agent, I guess, shot at the San Francisco PD parking lot, the lieutenant comes down because one of the cops says, "I thought it was you." Tells the lieutenant, "I thought it was you." And she, okay, I don't believe that. So she went down and she saw the credentials for the FBI agent, and then she went to the hospital and had a DNA test, and they came out sisters with both parents. So it was like, okay, we are sisters. Now what happened? How did we get here? How was I in San Francisco and you were in New York? How didn't our mother know that she had 2 kids? What happened? And they have to figure all that out, in addition to trying to find out why Fran got shot.
So, people trying to stay alive, figure it out and stay alive long enough to find out so they don't get shot again, maybe?
Maybe.
Is
that the only shooting that takes place? Now, what happens to the mother when she finds out that she has 2 twin daughters?
She files for more child support? For back child support? I don't know.
So, I don't know either. You have to read the book.
You got to read the book, folks. That's what novels are about. We can cover historical books because, people know how it turns out, kind of. At least I hope so. But yeah, with novels, you got to leave some suspense. So how did your own background influence your portrayal of the complex relationship between the twin sisters? I'm sure that kind of is interesting, especially since they're really grown up together and known each other. Twins usually have a kind of a bond.
My own background, I come from a semi-large family. I have two brothers and a sister.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was a nurse. And that's where I get some of the ideas. And I am so sorry. I wasn't expecting a call. I am so sorry.
They just want to be on the show. That's what it is.
Yes, they do want to be in a show. And I have no way of getting up and going and taking the phone and turning it off.
All right. Well, hopefully it'll just ring out here in a second.
No, because my husband's voice is going to come.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Could you edit this out?
I can try. Yeah. Let's see where we're at in the thing. We're at how far are we in? 1629.
So I am so sorry. It was one of those things that I really wasn't expecting. That phone hardly ever rings.
I know my phone's the same way. It only rings when I'm on. It'll ring 5 minutes before I'm supposed to go on show, and so I think it's the guest calling me because they're having a technical issue, and or maybe reschedule. And it's like some sales scammer.
Yeah, some spam or some sales or something like that.
It's always something like that.
That's a house phone, and the only reason we have a house phone is for emergencies. So that wasn't an emergency.
It's pretty funny. One of the other questions that I had for you, let me see if I can find it here as I hunt around to my map to try and find stuff. I'm not sure what's going on with my computer today, but so there's definitely some issues you have to resolve between them. Can you tell us anything without giving anything away about how they evolve as sisterhood? Do they become a team maybe throughout the trilogy?
Yes, they do become a team, but they still have to work out the issues of being sisters, understanding the fact that they are sisters. They also have to work the issue of one trying to be able to accept their mother as her mother. Jane's parents died. What she considered her parents are both dead. So all of a sudden she has this woman that's really her biological mother. How does she get along with her? How is she going to deal with that fact? The jealousy of Fran about having to share her mother with this brand new person that is her biological sister. So those are issues that come up in the process.
Each book tackles unique criminal worlds, smuggling, horse racing, and stolen art. How did you approach researching these very crimes or the crimes that are in the book? I didn't want to write books with the common drug crimes and so forth. So I have a friend, very close friend, whose brother was a horse insured person. He insured horses. Oh, wow.
There is such a thing as insuring horses. And we were talking about subject, and she said, well, my brother insures horses. And I said, excuse me, say what? Insure of what horses? Said, yeah, it works very much like health insurance for people. And I said, whoa, time out. So I started researching, and I found this crime that was committed, and the FBI investigated about horses and using horses as a fraud.
Oh, wow.
And it took me a while, but it is a real crime, and it was investigated by the FBI.
Wow. So for the shooting part, did you shoot anyone to do background testing on what that's like to get shot or shoot anyone?
No. I went to the range and shot a couple of, but I had to do that anyway when I was an agent. I had to every 3 months qualify in different weapons. So
yeah. Note to self, don't mess with Mrs. Rodriguez. She'll put a bullet in you. In writing about different criminal subcultures, Did it give you any challenges, or did you pull maybe some of that from your pseudo police work to give it more authenticity and accuracy, or
A mixture of both.
okay?
A mixture. I pulled it from some of the things that I knew, and investigative form that I was taught and that I knew and I did, and some of the crimes that I just had to investigate, and that's something I like, is researching and finding out things, and the research paid off.
Mm-hmm. Did you always envision the story as a trilogy, or did it begin as a simple one-book story and then expanded as you developed it?
I thought it was going to be a one-book issue. That's it. One book.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one came about because I couldn't leave the sisters where they were at the time. I mean, so I developed the second book, and I added some other stuff that some things that have to do with web pages and internet and things like that on the second book. And then on the third book, because I love history, I love that kind of work, I went, okay, now we have to take the sisters another step. So what else could we do with the sisters? Where are we going to go with the sisters? So I gave a romance to Jane. Jane finds somebody she could love. Mm-hmm. Something she didn't have before because she was divorced. On the first book, we know she's divorced.
Oh.
And the character of her ex-husband shows up on the first book. Mm-hmm. And he also shows up on the second book. And there's a twist there that you have to read the second book. And then on the third book, there's a bigger twist. With this character.
Lots of twisting and turning, as it were. So
yeah, that's what mysteries are about. You have to have twists, and all mysteries cannot be solved within 5 seconds.
Did you find it hard to plot that out, where there's the interlay of the plots, the plot lines and the subplots, and all that weaving that you authors do in novels?
Yeah, it was a little hard, and you have to sort of draw lines. Okay, this is going a chart. This is going this way, and this is going that way, and this is going the other way, and you have to make sure that you put them all together at one point in time so you don't get lost in the chart.
Do you make a chart for it?
I do.
I can see the chart. I'm like, there's Bob's going over there, and then Jane's going over there, and
you have to, and things like that. At least I do. I have to put a chart. Okay, I have Jane and I have Fran. What's going to happen here? And there's this other character coming in, but without a chart. But again, it goes back to my time as a special agent when you have charts on crimes. Who do you think the criminal is? And
you have like criminal at the top and his little gang of bad guys, in the whole thing we see in the movies you see, right?
You have a chart and you follow the chart for the crime.
Follow the charts. That's how you find the end of the plot. Now, I believe the setting is in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Why was it important to do that in shaping the atmosphere?
Because I lived in Alameda. My last station as an agent was Alameda. And I worked very closely with the San Francisco PD at the time. And also with the FBI at the time. And my youngest daughter lives in San Francisco.
So you're pretty familiar with the lay of land out there and the beautiful scenery and the wonderful weather.
If it wasn't because of the weather sometimes, I love San Francisco. But I live in Nevada now.
You live in northern Nevada, I think?
Yes, I live in Reno.
I live in Vegas, and so we're neighbors.
We are.
Since those are two major cities in freaking Nevada,
and the weather.
The weather, it's like it started about summer again. Jeez, wasn't it last year like really hot? Of course, do you guys have a cooler up there where you're at in Reno as opposed to Vegas?
We get very hot or cold. The other day it started raining and then it started to hail. And a couple of weeks before that, it was snowing.
Ah, we do that here in Vegas, but usually the snowing is referred to as a cocaine party. No, I'm just kidding. That's a Las Vegas sin joke. Don't do that. Don't do that, kids. Las Vegas snow is what we call that. There we go. I had to wander for that joke a little bit in the wilderness, but I found it. So Las Vegas snow. Be confused with Las Vegas meth. Anyway, it's a wild town. Everything's there. Let's see. What do you have any plans to continue their story beyond the trilogy?
Yes, I am working on another book. And I'm driving my family crazy because I have some ideas, and I'm trying to get their friends to give me suggestions to help me put some of those working parts together. And it's, Mom, would you please let us be for a couple minutes? Questions on tattoos and questions on micro dots and questions on refrigerated semis.
It sounds like your kids are like, is Mom just talking to us, or is she trying to pull information out of her stuff? What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little of that. Is she really talking to us?
Is she really talking to us?
What is she trying to do?
What is she trying to say? What is she trying to do? Let's talk about your website too. I know you have some offerings over on your website. What do you have on your website? People can take a look at it.
And the website, I have a water bottles, T-shirts, hats, and the books.
There you go. You got the merch, as the kids say. The merch.
It's a small store, and I'm trying something new. I always like to try something new.
The merch is so important these days. Was there any challenges you had as you were going through the trilogy, putting it together, and when you were writing it and stuff, or maybe things that you found that were really rewarding and finally getting right on the page?
It was amazing because I have written many short stories before. And sometimes things were easier and sometimes they were harder. But on this book, it just flew. The words came onto the paper and they were there and they kept flowing and the characters and everything just kept flowing. And it made it easy in a way that I had never had that kind of ease at creating something. So that was interesting for me because I kept saying, is this right? Is this the way it should be?
Yeah.
But it just happened.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's more better that way than when you can't make anything come to you and you're just sitting there in writer's block going, what the hell?
I hate those writer blocks. I have been on those moments writing short stories and I get to a point and said, okay, now where do I go? On this, guys, no, the characters kept growing and flowing and things were there. So real. I know I sound a little bit off, but that's how I felt at the time.
So upcoming, do you plan on writing more books? Anything in the works currently, or and there's the one that we talked about and stuff. Do you see yourself continuing to write more stories in the same venue of genre?
I don't know. Let me see what happens with this other book. I have 6 great grandkids that require my attention. My great grandson comes from school and he stays here with us and we go right now. My oldest daughter is coming because in a little while we have to go to a baseball practice. I thought I was done with all that, but now I have great grandkids that I have to go to baseball practice and baseball games and gymnastics and all that stuff again.
Got to go through it all again. What's the feedback you've heard from maybe readers right now on some of your characters? Do they give you any feedback? And maybe, we've had authors on the show that have talked about sometimes they didn't realize some things about their characters, like in one instance that their character was an alcoholic. After several books, their readers are like, hey, that dude's an alcoholic. And they're like, yeah, what? What sort of feedback have you gotten from your readers?
I have gotten feedback that the books read too fast.
Oh,
they go too fast. They want it longer. And so that's the idea. It's for you to be delighted in something really fast. They like the characters. They want more interaction, a little bit of more interaction with sisters. But again, there's a crime that has to be solved.
Mhm.
So the third one, they have a little bit more interaction.
So interesting book for people to read. And it sounds like you've really discovered your love of writing and stuff and everything else. Anything more we need to know before we go out?
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I want to tell people out there that are listening or watching us that if you have a dream, go for it.
Mm.
Don't ever give up. I'm 74 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I dreamed to being a writer since the age of 9, and I'm here with you today.
You're never too old to start writing, folks. Chase your dreams and all that good stuff. We'll be excited to see more of what you put out, Miss Rodriguez, in the future. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks, Jonas, for tuning in. Order up her book wherever fine books are sold. The Jane Sparks Trilogy, November 5th, 2024 came out. 3 books in one. So you're going to get it's 3 books in one, people. How can you say no to that? Yeah. Thanks, Jonas, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.